Hey guys, it's Lynette here. I have a question for you. Is comparison silencing your confidence? Let's talk about it right after the intro plays. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, guys. Welcome back to the broadcast. Whether you are viewing this on YouTube or on my blog, thank you so much for joining me here today. I want you to join in with me on this conversation. I think it's a conversation that we as women barely have. First of all, who wants to admit that they are comparing themselves to anybody? So I'll ask you again, is comparison silencing your confidence? Better yet, let me ask you, do you compare yourself to other people? Oh, what? It's just me? Oh, okay. I'll be honest. I'll step out on the ledge because, I'm all about transparency and vulnerability, even when it's uncomfortable. So that's how this message came up because I found myself comparing myself to another woman that I admire and respect. And I wanted to address that because if I can step out on the ledge and admit that and it helps one person, then the transparency, the vulnerability, and the uncomfortability is worth it. All right. But I need for you to join in on this conversation. So, again, if you're watching it on YouTube or on the blog, leave me a comment. Let me know if it resonates with you and if you are also having an issue with this. It's okay. Go ahead. You can admit it. There's no shame here, there's no judgment. That's why we're having a conversation because this is not talked about enough. At least for me, it's not. So, I started to think about what I was feeling when I found myself doing that. I started thinking about where am I in my life where I may not feel fulfilled. And when I look out and see someone else who's living the life and doing all the things, I found myself comparing myself to them. Now, if you are having this concern in your own life and you're ready to admit it, then I'll ask you when you find yourself comparing yourself to someone, excuse me, what is going on in your life? What is going on in your world? How are you feeling about yourself in your world? What's not working for you? Because if we're living the life ourselves and we are walking in fulfillment and purpose in our life and we're happy and joyful and we're doing the things that we're wanting to do that ignites our spirit and makes us feel amazing, you don't find yourself comparing yourself to other people because you're focused on yourself, which is where our focus should be. What I've been doing for myself lately is telling myself I'm putting on the racehorse vision blockers. I'm trying to remember what I call those things, but it's not coming to me right now. But when you see a racehorse, they have these things, and for a long time, I didn't know what those things were. But you see them with these things on the side of their eyes, and it blocks them from seeing any of the other horses. In fact, they don't see anything to the side of them. Only thing they see is in front of them, that track and that finish line. So when we start looking to the side, to the left, to the right, and we see other people, what we perceive them doing is living the life that we desire for ourselves, right? That's what I have found for myself when I find myself comparing myself is because I perceive that they are living the life that I desire. And why am I not living that life? Well, first of all, I'm not living that life because I'm too busy focused on what they're doing. How about you? Yeah, come on now. Don't leave me out here by myself. I'm good if you do, but I want you to get free too. And the way that you get free is being honest with yourself. Now, let's take it back a little bit. If I'm honest with myself, I've always compared myself to someone else growing up because I didn't have confidence because no one helped me build my confidence in my home. Um, there's a lot of noise, but the noise wasn't building anybody up or making them feel good about themselves or seeing their value or looking at themselves with any type of high esteem. And as I have grown and just turning 56, there are things that are still coming back to me that affect my life now. And don't think I'm being a victim because I'm not. This is a part of my story. When you begin to really reconnect with yourself, when you are ready to evolve as the woman, the person that you are, you're going to have to look at these hard things in your life because they lay seeds for where you are now. And if you're not ready to look back at those things, how can you move forward? So I started to think about how this started for me as a little girl. So it's so easy for me to veer off instead of staying laser focused on my lane into someone else's lane because they again look like they are living the life, right? But we know that when we compare ourselves to someone else, it just really silences our confidence. It completely kills it. We can't hear our own voice. We can't see ourselves. We can't see how powerful we are. We can't see how beautiful we are. We can't see how to complete our goals. We measure ourselves based on how the next person is showing up and how people are responding to them. And again, that's taking our eyes off of our own lane. Now, don't nobody have time for that, right? We don't have time for that. So, what are we going to do? Well, if you are ready to stop doing it, because you can't change it if you don't see a problem with it. So, this is for the people who are ready to change it. All right. And it doesn't have to always happen, it doesn't have to be something that's constant. But if it's happening, then I want you to know I'm talking to you. Comparison. Whenever you compare yourself to someone else, you will never measure up. It's like you have this imaginary ruler that you can't ever meet. Why? Because that's somebody else's ruler. So start thinking about, when did you start comparing yourself to someone else? What was going on for you, maybe as a child? Maybe going through a divorce, maybe getting older, maybe gaining weight. What were you thinking about yourself? What were you thinking about your life that had you veering off into the lane of the next woman that came into your space? Or perhaps she's across the room, or perhaps she's on television or on Instagram. We see the highlight reels of people's lives, but sometimes we forget that when we aren't feeling fulfilled in our own life. So, what were you thinking? What thoughts come to you? What memories come to you that cause you to compare yourself to anybody? You know, it's not a bad thing to admit to yourself where your struggle is, because until you do that, you can't really change it. What will it take for you to start veering back into your lane and really taking a good look at you, really being focused on you so that you can see your potential, so that you can see what you're able to do and who you're able to be? What do you need to do for yourself? What's your goal? What was your goal when you came into this year? Have you focused on those at all? Why don't we start with writing down just three simple things? Because sometimes when you're so used to looking at everybody else's highlight reels, you forget what your goals are. So let's just start with three. In the next 6 months, what are the three things you would like to see in your life or achieve in your life? Write down three things just about you, not about your kids, your husband, your boo, your job. You may want to do your job if you want to change career, but write down three things that you're wanting to do or achieve in the next 6 months. or the end of the year, whichever is easier. Now, when you write those three things down, up under them or beside them, write down the steps that you need to take to reach that finish line. And I know it may feel uncomfortable, and you may have a whole lot of things telling you that's not possible. You can't do that. But write it anyway. Okay? So as you write down those three goals and you write down the steps that it will take for you to reach those, then underneath that, write down the first thing that you're going to do to start going towards that goal. All right? Are you writing? Okay. I see you. Write it down. Because when you write it down, you get it out of your head. That's why many times we overthink because we keep everything in our heads. But today we're going to change that. We are doing what it takes to refocus ourselves, to be back in our lane, to block our vision from everything that's on the side of us, around us. And we're focusing on the lane that we're on. And what is it going to take to get around that bend and achieve the goals that we're setting for ourselves today? You got it? So you wrote the goal, you wrote down the steps, and now you've written down the first thing that you need to do. Now, the next thing is write down the date that you want to achieve that step. All right? Now, you've already committed to 5 or 6 months. So that's your date. You can go back and you can actually say, by this date, I want to accomplish this. That's cool too. Now, on this first step, what is the date for you to complete that goal for you? Because we already know that distractions are going to come because what? You're changing your mind on something, you're changing how you see yourself, you're focusing on yourself. So we expect that things are going to come from the left, the right, the people in your home to distract you from this. But we have racehorse vision to accomplish this goal because what are we doing? We are shifting from comparison to help build ourselves up, right? Regardless of how you got here, we're working on changing that one step at a time. So now you've decided, okay, I'm going to do this one step because that's going to take me to step two, step three, however many steps it takes you to finish each of those goals, one goal at a time. Or if you are high achieving, you may want to take one step out of each one of those goals, however you need to do it. Because your confidence comes when you begin to decide what you want, do the work to get there, and then achieve it. That's how you rebuild your confidence. And as long as your head is down and you are doing those steps to achieve that goal, you don't have the time, the energy to even look to the left or the right and compare yourself to somebody. This is how you rebuild your confidence. This is how you see what you are capable of. This is where you commit to yourself to do what you got to do to get to your next goal. If you only have two that you've written down, don't beat yourself up. That's excellent. Now work the plan. Work the plan. We have done a lot of things in survival mode, and now we are working towards thriving, not for applause from anybody else, because you may have people in your life that are not really paying attention. They haven't seen you possibly work to achieve many things because you're so focused on what someone else is doing. You're trying to attract what they're getting. So people don't really know what you're bringing to the conversation, to the table, to your life. So you can't base this on if anybody else applauds you or if they see you. It's time for you to see yourself for who you are and what you want in your life. What's going to light you up again? What's going to make you feel amazing just being you and knowing that that is more than enough. Your confidence may have been a little dormant, but by doing these steps, each time you want to better you, you want to change something in your life, you can begin to awaken your confidence. Now, when I first started this, I said, I may be out on the edge by myself, but I hope that by the time you've reached this point, perhaps you've identified within yourself, yeah, I do compare myself to other people. And yeah, I beat myself up when I compare myself to those other people because I don't measure up to them. You were never meant to measure up to them. So if you're bold enough and you're brave enough, and I know you are, to admit to yourself, my confidence isn't where I want it to be. And it's because I've been comparing myself to other people. I'm so proud of you. I am so proud of you. And I'm proud of me, girl. I'm proud of me because I stepped out on the ledge. I'm admitting my stuff. Owning your truth is something that's not easy, but it is what has helped me get to this point since 2014 when I really dug into healing and becoming better and discovering my purpose and building my confidence after a marriage. But my marriage didn't steal my confidence, it had been there for years. But at that time, I truly focused on being a better me and owning my truth, no matter how uncomfortable it is something that's necessary in order for you to be the woman that you're wanting to be, that you are meant to be. There is something in those other women that you see in yourself. It's something that's a spotlight in them that's shining a light on you because it's already in you. The confidence they have, the ambition that they have, the achievements, all of that. Whatever it is that you see in them that's so big is already inside of you. But as long as you focus on them, you'll never be able to see your own light. You'll never be able to see what's really inside of you. So now it's time for you to get to work. You've heard me. I've shared my little piece. Share in the comments where you are right now. How is this helping you? What are you willing to do now to change this scenario in your life and get back over in your lane so you can see what you have to offer to the world and to yourself? Commit to yourself what goals you're going to complete for you and the work you're going to do, and you're going to ignore the distractions that'll come. What is it? What are you committing to yourself today so you can ignite your confidence and stop comparing yourself to other people? You don't have to tell anybody else. You can write it, put it on a sticky note on your mirror as an affirmation. I commit to do the work to complete this goal by dot, 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 dot. Simple, right? Every time you go in there to fix your hair, you will see that. Say it out loud. Every time you complete something that, especially if it's been hard for you, then you begin to build your confidence. All right, all right, all right. I'm going to come away from the edge. I'm going to leave you alone for today, but I want to hear from you. Let me know, is this video helping you? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and tell your friends about it. So if you're watching this on YouTube, invite them over. If you're watching this on the blog, invite them over so you can leave your comments. And that's all I got for you today. Until next time, I am Lynette M. Bradshaw, and we are igniting our confidence. Until next time, take care.